Greetings. As you will notice, the cross is in the background here. That's because we are still in Lent as I'm bringing you this Easter message. But then, as we all know, the cross has been in the background of our lives this whole pandemic year. But that's the way it is for Easter people. We go to Easter through the cross. We can't go to Easter Sunday without going through Good Friday. On a personal note, the cross has always been in the background of my life ever since my mother died. But then that's true of so many people who have lost loved ones this past year, whether it be through COVID, cancer, or for some other reason. The cross is always present. When my mother was dying, and she knew it, dying of cancer, she made the decision not to take treatment, choosing rather a quality of life rather than a quantity of life. She did so with a sure and certain hope and a belief in the new life promised to her by Easter. We're all looking forward to that new life. New life, whether it be in the resurrection at the end, and new life now when this pandemic will come to an end. When grandparents can hug their grandchildren. When we can get back to being with our families and visiting with our friends. When we can gather with our parish family around the Eucharistic table. This has been far from an Easter year for any of us. But then, like those early disciples on Easter morning, they were gathered in fear behind locked doors. And so for many of us this past year has been a year of being in our homes, whether it be working from home, staying home from school, or living behind masks, far from an Easter year. But then we find truth in the words of the poet Emily Dickinson, who wrote, "Truth must dazzle gradually." That was true for the first disciples. They came to the truth that the risen Lord, the one that they had loved who had died, they came to that truth that he was alive gradually. To be dazzled by the truth of Easter, that Christ is alive, we must. To be dazzled by the truth that life, not death, is the final word, we must. To be dazzled by the hope and the promise that new life awaits us, both now and in the resurrection, we must, even if gradually. Bishop Rowan Williams wrote a book called Luminaries, in which he tells the stories of people whose lives brought life to others, brought light to others who were living in darkness. That's what the risen Lord has done. He brought light to his disciples who were living in the darkness of his death. And it's a promise of Easter to all of us, that we who are living and have been living in darkness will experience new life, that we too will rise up and live and rise to become luminaries, bringing light to so many others that are living in darkness now. The poet Maya Angelou wrote in her poem, "Still I rise, into a daybreak that's wonderfully clear, I rise." This is not a time for fear, for clearly in daybreak, Jesus rose, giving us a promise of new life. My mother believed in that promise, and so do I. And so in her name, I extend to you and your family a very blessed and happy Easter.